Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, I have exciting news. Next week, July 22nd through the 28th, is Reading Rush, which, if you don't know, it used to be called Booktubeathon. And it is a week-long readathon where a bunch of booktubers all read along together. And there are reading sprints on Twitter, and we all have accounts so you can connect with us. And it's going to be really great. I have an account. I'll link it below so you can friend me or you can follow what I'm reading. But I just wanted to talk about the books that I'm going to be reading for next week, which I don't have any of them yet because they are all on hold for me at the library and they haven't come in yet. So I'm hoping I get them all in time. But let's get started. So there are 7 prompts and you can double up, which is great because in a week, I definitely am not going to be reading 7 full books. They did say anything that has it is on Goodreads or whatever counts. So graphic novels count and that sort of thing. So you could do shorter books if you wanted to, but I am only doing 1 graphic novel. So we'll see how it goes. So I have 4 books listed. So one of the books covers several of the prompts. So the first book that I'm going to be reading is Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. Now, this is the book that fulfills several prompts, and it is very old. It has been on my TBR for a long time. I think it was not this last Christmas, which was still 7 months ago, but the Christmas before that, my parents were over and my mom was like, you have to read Fablehaven. It's so good. And so I was like, sure, put it on my TBR and forgot all about it. I don't actually know anything about this other than it is a middle grade fantasy series. It's the start of a series and I'm excited because I've been meaning to read this one for so long, so it's cool to get to it. Now, the prompts that this one fulfills is a book with purple on the cover. Not a lot, but there's definitely purple on there, and they were explicit, any purple at all and any shade of purple totally counts. So this book definitely counts for that. The next one is read an author's first book, and this was actually Brandon Mull's first, it was his debut book, and it started a whole series. He's written many other things that aren't in the Fablehaven universe since then, but it is definitely his most prolific series, and I think probably his best known, because I didn't recognize the names of any of the other stuff he's written, but I definitely recognized Fablehaven. So this fulfills both of those. And then the third prompt that it fits with is read a book that features a non-human creature. I don't know what they are, but the creature on the cover is definitely not human. So, and I figured with a fantasy, probably a safe bet, there's going to be creatures that aren't human in there. But like I said, obviously from the cover, that's the case. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to do is, I wanted to make sure it was a shorter book because the prompt is read a book in one spot. So the entire you don't have to read it on all in one setting, but anytime you're reading that book, it has to be in the same spot. So I wanted something that I wasn't going to be super committed to being in one spot for a really, really long time. So I decided to go with a graphic novel, and the graphic novel I chose was Monstrous. No, this side. Shoot! I'm going to put the cover up here. Now, there are a lot of authors and artists that have contributed to this, so I'm going to read this off because I know if I try and say this from memory, I will not get it right. So we have Marjorie M. Liu, Sana Takeda, Russ Wooton, Yoshi Yoshitani, and Jennifer M. Smith. So, like I said, I would never have been able to get that all from memory. This is a graphic novel series. This is the start of a graphic novel series that has been on my radar for the last several months. I tried to, KCLS actually has this digitally on Hoopla. So if you wanted to read this online with me, feel free. You can read it online on Hoopla. But I was like, it's slow at work. I'll pull it up. And the first page is an image that I was not comfortable having up at the desk at work. So I was like, shoot. And that was literally as far as I got. I don't think I even read a single word. I was like, oh, I can't read this at the desk at work. And I had a bunch of other stuff that I was trying to read at home. So trying again. I've heard good things. I really like going into books not knowing a lot about them. So I don't know a ton about this. Again, I just remember, and I knew more back then, but it's been a minute. I just know it's a graphic novel and the main character is female, which I am very into. I have noticed that there is definitely a recurring theme with me where a lot of my favorite books, the main character is female. Didn't do it on purpose. Didn't even realize for a long time that was my thing, but apparently I like reading about leading women. So that is the one that I'm going to be doing all in one space. The next book that's on my list is Fulfilling Two Prompts, and it is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. Now, the 2 prompts for this one is read a book that you meant to read last year. This has been on my TBR. I went through and it was added in like October of 2018. So meant to read it last year and I didn't. And then the other prompt is pick a book that has 5 or more words in the title. So A Darker Shade of Magic, 5 words. So it meets both of those prompts. This is one where I have heard this one described a fair amount of times. There are different like parallel Londons, like parallel worlds basically, and they're all set in London, the book is. So there's different parallel Londons and there are different colors. So there's, I don't know if I'm going to get the colors right, guys, but like there's one that's I think black and like all of magic has died there. So it's basically our world. And then there's like a gray one where magic is dying. And then there's a red one where like magic is still really active. And there's a guy who has a rare gift where he can shift between these worlds. So he is sent as a messenger between the different Londons. And some sort of shenanigans ensue. I don't really know what, because again, I like to go into books kind of not knowing much, just enough to be like, yeah, that sounds like something I want to read. So we shall see. Okay, and the final book is read a book and then watch the movie adaptation. And I had a really hard time coming up with something that I wanted to read that had a movie. And I was like, I mean, there's obviously Harry Potter, but I am going on a road trip with my husband in a little under 2 months. And I have all of the audiobooks for Harry Potter on hold with the library. And we are going to power through as much of the series as we can. So I didn't really want to do Harry Potter because I didn't want to start the series without him. Like, he's read the whole series, but it's been a long time. So I just wanted to do something else. And then I was like, oh, Murder on the Orient Express is on one of the reading challenges I'm trying to do this year. So I was like, I can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and do that and then watch the movie, which I was intrigued by until it came out and everyone said it was terrible. But I still kind of want to watch it because it looked interesting. So I think I'm going to do that one. The other one, I haven't totally decided yet. Except for, I think I ordered Murder on the Orient Express from the library and haven't ordered this other one. The other one is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I have successfully read 2 Neil Gaiman books. One is Nevermore, and the other one is Good Omens, which he co-authored with Terry Pratchett. And I didn't really enjoy either of them. I have tried to read 2 other Neil Gaiman books. The first was American Gods. And I think I made it like 60 pages in and was like, this is the worst. And then the other one was Lock and Key, I think it's called. And it's a graphic novel series. And I made it like 10 pages in and I was like, this is so violent and gross. No, thank you. So I am not a huge fan of Neil Gaiman. However, I love the movie Stardust. So I've always been really curious about the book, and it's like 140 pages. So it wouldn't be the hugest commitment to read it. So I also know that I read an Agatha Christie novel earlier this year or last year. I don't remember. Somewhat recently, and wasn't a crazy fan of that either. So we'll see. I might just order both of them from the library and try them out and see which one strikes my fancy. But I love the movie Stardust. In fact, we just watched it a couple weeks ago and I was like, yes, maybe I will read this book. So those are the 7 prompts. There is also a challenge of it's not really a prompt, but you can get badges for doing different things. I'm just going to be like, it's not really a prompt, but you can get badges for things. Where you get an extra badge if you read 7 books. So I recently, and by recently I mean like 2 hours ago, I was at work and discovered that we have at our library a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft graphic novels. And I've always wanted to read H.P. Lovecraft because I'm just interested in like that sort of thing. Like I'm not really into horror, but at the same time, we have a bunch of board games that were inspired by his works. So I'm like, I feel like I should read some of his stuff just because I would love to know the source material. So I figured graphic novel was maybe like a good happy medium where I'm not having to commit to reading a whole horror novel, but I do get to kind of experience the source material that's not in like board game format. So I put a bunch of those on hold. They should be here in the next few days, hopefully. So if I have time, I'm going to read through several of those to try and hit the 7 books. We shall see. It is totally if I have time, because I'm still reading 4 full books in a week, which is a lot. You guys, I just need to like manage my time better, I think. But we'll see. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to put my Reading Rush stuff down below. If you want to join me, you can follow me. And it starts next week on Sunday, the 22nd. All right, guys, let me know if you're going to be participating. And until next time, happy reading. See you next time. Bye. So there are 7 prompts. Sorry, 1, 2. So the first book I'm going to be reading is Fablehaven, which I'll put up right here. Which will pop the cover, I guess, up here. Again, I'll put it up over there. Why can I not figure this out? On this side, no, this side, shoot! I'm gonna put the cover up here. The next book that is on my list, let's see if I can focus. There we go.